in London.
Oh, wow.
Which is something. So we have a number of questions. Thank you, Jason, for sending them. And of course, they may stimulate some interest. I see there is a chat, one chat. How do I get that chat? I should completely overwhelmed. She's a very sensitive person, express these kinds of symptoms. We'll see if we can get that. Okay, we're ready to go?
Yeah.
And once again, during our Jason, can you mute everybody? Please mute yourself. During the hour, become aware of the presence of the field of energy, the team, if you want to call it, and so that we can build up to the meditation. So allow the answers and allow whatever I say just to pass over you, but stay with yourself, stay very present, don't get into your head, so that you can constantly be aware of the presence. So Lorraine, I don't know if Lorraine's here, don't think so, wanting to elaborate on the Circle and Tree of Life books and the set balances in them and how they came about, etc. Well, okay, that's a big question because it was a long time ago and I don't remember, but it was part of the vortex technology that was coming through. We had the set of the 10 cards or 11 cards, and there was the need at that time as well. We had been dealing with module 3, module 4, before that, where we had iris balancing, we had astrological balancing, and the Circle came about initially as almost like a natal chart, where the different planets and the different sun signs were around the chart in a very specific order and very accurately. And of course, we would place either the hand or a witness signature or hair in the middle. And it operated, so everything works together in life alignment. So it was in sync with even iris balancing. We're working with the iris and the circle through the iris, where each line represents something, and of course the astrological chart. And of course we had done module 5 where the cards came into being. I don't know if you know that, but module 5 was the module where the vortex cards first were introduced. Initially, I thought it was just for module 5. It became clear that it was more than module 5. So in module 5, we had the astrological alignment. We had all the elements, the 12 elements in module 4. So everything works together. And so the Circle was a natural outcome of all of these technologies, whereby it's almost as if the universe is streaming through the cards, almost like a astrological chart, down into the center. And then the Tree of Life came up after that. I think it was sometime after that. I had been studying the Tree of Life and the Kabbalah, but I think the Tree of Life pattern came in fairly early. as a very powerful form to stream energy from the cosmos, from the Creator, down into form. So the tree of life was chosen as a way of streaming light energy through the different centers. And that became a very powerful means of bringing energy through. I use the tree of life for many things, in potentizing and doing different things. So that's how those things came about. And then, of course, the set balances initially were based on balancing all the systems of the body. In Module 5, we have the particular chart where the systems are balanced at a higher frequency. So the circles, tree of life, enhanced that. Now, the tree of life, of course, was more for emotional, spiritual aspects. The circle was more for physical, emotional, more at the earthly level. And that's why the right hand is placed there. The right hand connects with the left brain. And the left hand is placed on the tree of life, which connects to the right brain, which is more the emotional Gestalt brain. So I think that's basically all I have to say about that. Any questions about that? I hope that was interesting for you. So Claire here? No. Observing and contemplating differences and similarities between belief systems and programs, and was wondering if you could elaborate a bit more on these, of course, if you see value. So I think you've all dealt with beliefs, and we've all dealt with programs, I think. Most of you have. And the difference between beliefs and programs is that beliefs is something that bypasses or passes through the conscious mind. The conscious mind, no matter how old you are, has the ability and the choice to filter belief systems that have come down through the family, through religion, through school, through national, global beliefs. Of course, there are belief systems that we inherit that are a little more subconscious. But typically, those belief systems, consciousness has the ability to filter them and to make choices around them. Whereas programs, implants, are patterns that go directly into the unconscious or the subconscious mind. As we know, subliminal advertising and all of that sort of stuff, where the conscious mind does not have the ability to filter that. So these programs play out during our lives without control. We have no control of them. We have no choice. We have no awareness that they are playing out. And of course, they are exceptionally important because we've all received programs. Some of them come through the media, through different technologies. Initially, programs were streamed through television and then through the computer and cell phones and all sorts of technologies. Of course, we remember the subliminal program when they placed a little one screen in a movie, and you could not see that, but it went straight into your unconscious. So just one frame. So that's the difference between beliefs, and we work with them quite differently because beliefs, we've all become aware of our beliefs, even though we inherited them from our parents and some of the ethics and work ethics and moral ethics that we inherited from family. Any questions about that? And really, they are exceptionally important for our work and we deal with them quite differently. Implants is a very complicated thing to get into, but there is a physical manifestation. It's almost like a computer chip that is somehow embedded into the bone structure, into somewhere in the body. Hard to imagine, hard to understand, but they are there. Some of these programs and implants come from past lives. So the soul brings, particularly, let's say, from Atlantis. Atlantis, there were many, many programs through the latter years of Atlantis, where there was quite a power struggle and certain domination of the priesthood. So a lot of these come from past lives. All clear?
Can you say a bit more about implants? Who or what implants?
Who or what implant?
Where do they come from?
Oh my God, it's a big subject, Dinah. I don't want to get into that. Really, it's a little scary at one level. There are extraterrestrial implants. There's all sorts of types of implants. And I don't want to go there. Okay, is that all right? But when you're dealing with program implants, you check, is there a part? And if there's a part, it's an implant. You find the part, put it into the program point, and you wonder, what the hell is that all about? But something shifts, and sometimes a little bump on a bone disappears. It's weird. What can I say? But it happens.
Sorry, can I just clarify that? You ask if this program implant, is there a part? And then if there is, you scan and you find it, but that suggests there's an implant.
Exactly.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. All right. So a question from David Pasikoff. He's just taught Module 4 last week, and a question came up about Module 4, astrological alignment. One of the students was wondering what it means if, say, the constellation Aries comes up to be balanced with the planet Pluto. They have no Aries in their chart. So really, what is the purpose? Who's done astrological alignment? Module 4, put your hand up. Let's clarify, because this is a very big question that's been coming up. The astrological alignment in Module 4. What's the theme of Module 4? Coming into harmonic resonance with all aspects of our world, all the different elements, fire, air, water, earth, whatever, coming into alignment with the kingdoms, with the universe as a whole. And so how that arose is that people in our lives, people come into our lives with different qualities. And the soul wants to come into harmony with all the sun signs, planets and sun signs, all the configurations, the astrological configurations, whether you've got that in your chart or not. So people come that are Scorpios or Aries, and at a particular configuration of planets, and they present that energy to us. And what does the soul want? The soul wants to embrace that, to assimilate those elements, because what happens in our lives is we react typically to those patterns. And so disharmonies are created between people. And so we want to assimilate all sun signs and all configurations of planets. And so you can do astrological alignment 20 times. Different things will come up. It's got nothing to do with what's in your chart. That's where we go to after home alignment, the astrological alignment, when we're dealing with a natal chart. So it's coming into resonance with Pluto in Scorpio and Uranus in Scorpio. And the people that have brought that, or situations that have brought that, presented that to us, so that we can clear those relations and create lines of harmony. Because as the theme of Module 4 is, coming into harmony with everything, all the chemical elements from the periodic table, even though they may be fairly dangerous in the manifestation, but we want to make peace with all animals, with all insects, all plants, all elements, all astrological elements. Make sense? You got it? All right. So now back to circles. Zena, you around? Wanted to know about distant healing using a person's hair on the tree of life. I think this is something you need to clarify with whoever taught you long distance, but the hair is placed in a little plastic bag, not loose, and is placed in the middle of a circle and the bottom at Malkut of the tree of life. And then the spinning happens around the circle and around that small circle at the bottom of the tree of life. So I think that answers your question. Sophie, I don't think I see you there, Sophie. The new iCard wants to know if the purpose of it has something to do with enhancing human vision to enable us to perceive the Earth's electromagnetic field. If this is the case, do we know for which reason it is in our best interest to develop that ability? Well, first of all, I don't think that's the purpose of the vision cards. Let me tell you a little about the vision cards. You wear them on the glasses. There's one on the left, one on the right. And what they do, it's as if you've got two ones, one going in, one going out, or two Taurus cards, one going in, one going out. And what it does is clears all the charge, emotional, energetic charge around seeing not only, I don't want to see this, I don't want to see that, but seeing deeply, seeing more brightly, seeing more colors, seeing more vividly, because some people change their prescription like I did, and several others, and others just almost instantly see more colors, see brighter. And that's really all it is. So I don't think there's any purpose in seeing the Earth's magnetic field. I think that's a difficult one. Now, talking about that, I'm going to jump to a question of Christiana in Italy. I assume she's not there. During my balance in Assisi, you touched the energetic protection point. Does the energetic protection point that you touch with 4 fingers on immunoglobulins point have a specific procedure? We'd like to know if this point is used on the priority in an emotional process balance, if he has specific procedure to maybe activate our energetic protection. So just to give you some background, I did a half-day geopathic stress workshop in Assisi, and she was used as a group balance after we had studied and felt all the different energetic patterns to strengthen our resilience against energetic pollution. And that's a point from home alignment. Zone C, 4 fingers on the immunoglobulins, which is a module 5 point. It's just about an inch below the thymus. So that's the immunoglobulin. You place 4 fingers on that point, and that's energy protection. And of course, goal. There's some noise coming. You got it? the goal is to develop resilience. Now, of course, you know, I'm not saying we're going to be able to have resilience against, you know, cell phones and stuff like that. That is very, very new to this body, but increase our resilience so that more and more we are less and less dependent upon protective means such as vortex cards and so on. So we had a very powerful group balance there, which basically addresses our vulnerability towards external stimuli, pollution. And so it's a very important balance. It's not a point that's in the general life alignment priority list, because it is a home alignment point. There are several home alignments that you now go into home alignment priority list. And how many of you have done home alignment? So quite a number of you. So use that point. It's just a point. There's no procedure. It's just something you use as a priority point, and it will identify where you have vulnerability, where there are cracks in your field that allow external stimuli to come through. And so it's interesting, but after that balance, many people were stronger in relationship to geopathic stress, because we do not want to be vulnerable to all of these things all the time. And so building our resilience over a period of time helps us to electromagnetics and to geopathic and to all of those things. Any questions about that? No questions? So Chiara, I see you there.
Jeff, I have a question with that.
Yeah.
Would you also then find a part if you use that, if you just had that as a point, if you used it? Would you find the part in the body to then enter into that point for a folder? No,
Not that I know
just
of.
use the sequence.
Just use that priority point.
Okay.
What do you think the part would represent?
A location of where that was at.
Well, let me say a little bit about this, because, you know, our etheric body is the energetic sheath that surrounds the body. And in the etheric body, there are oftentimes holes, tears, things that create vulnerability. It is like our protective shield. It's like our suit of armor. When it is healthy and tight, when it is unhealthy, it's loose. When it is healthy, it is tight. So when we do an etheric balance, or later on in Module 5, an etheric activation, we are strengthening this etheric sheath. And then there may be a part. There could be. Often it's just the whole etheric body, and it just helps to. So I haven't really had that experience of a part in the etheric body, because we do energy blockages, and it could be related to the etheric body. But it's an interesting question. So I've never had that, but do test that when it comes up. I think I told the story many times of a friend who became a friend, that in Hawaii, in a very sacred experience and ceremony, ritual, was given a certain drug that forced him out of his body. He shot out of his body, could not get back into his body. And so basically he blasted his etheric body open, and he became ultra sensitive to electromagnetic fields. He couldn't walk into a room where there was a television on or there was a computer. And this was a very healthy, athletic individual. And so I worked very comprehensively in repairing his etheric field. And slowly he became resilient. Now, we didn't have this point at that time. We just had the etheric body. He became resilient and was able to be exposed to computers and televisions and so on. And so the intent is not what protection you need. Of course, that's a stopgap symptomatically, but is how do we strengthen ourselves so that we are less sensitive to the environment? And coming back to module 4 is part of that. You know, a lot of the balances in module 4 one should be doing over and over again because it strengthens our relationship to all the different elements. So we come to peace with even electromagnetics and so on. All right. Also in...
Sorry, Jeff, can I ask a question about that?
Yeah.
How do you repair it? What would you do? Would you just use the point and do balances on the point?
I just use the etheric body as the priority.
Okay, and not the energy protection point.
No, I didn't have that at the time.
Oh yeah, but now I'm saying.
But you could, yeah, it could come up as one of the body points.
Yeah.
Or energy protection point could have the etheric body as another body point.
And would that sensitivity show up in all different forms, like to food and all sorts of things?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. It's our sensitivity and vulnerability to our world, to our environment.
Yes.
And so as we strengthen ourselves, and of course this does involve the whole auric field, but it starts with although of course energy moves from the outside in and inside out, but the etheric is our suit of armor. And when there are holes in the etheric, we become very vulnerable. So people, for instance, who have spent many years working with electromagnetic fields in laboratories or you know, electrician or whatever, their etheric becomes weakened. And so they need strengthening because they reach a point where the barrel is full. And one drop causes an overspill on the barrel and a reaction, which could be an allergic reaction, it could be a reaction to electromagnetic fields. We must also understand that the environment is dropping tons of chemicals and heavy metals on us through chemtrails and through pollution and whatever. And we're needing to develop resilience towards that. Otherwise, we can get quite ill. And people are being affected by these things. These are very noxious heavy metals. All aware of that? Chiara, in Assisi, we also did a day on sensitivities. And your question is using either a written word like dairy, milk, or whatever it is on a piece of paper, if you do not have the witness, the actual sample of substance. And I did say we could use a list with a connector. And your question is excellent and says, for allergies, do you put the connector, the metal part of the connector, on the navel? Is that correct? And yes, that's a good idea, because that's where this substance goes. So the pointer is on a list. So when you do sensitivities, you may not have substances. You may have a list of foods, pollens, dog and cat hair and dust and all sorts of stuff. And we can go through the list and You can write that down on a piece of paper and put it on the body with the person's awareness, because their body knows that. Of course, you can use urine, particularly if you've been exposed to that allergen recently. But this might have been 10 years ago, and you may still have a bit of a sensitivity. So you can write it on a piece of paper. The body recognizes that substance. It's not as clear and strong as having the exact substance, but that's not always easy to get. It's not easy to get a particular pollen. It might be a combination or a particular chemical in detergents or perfumes or whatever. So with perfumes, it's not easy to write perfume on there because it's a complex of chemicals. So you would need a specific substance. But if it's, say, wheat, you don't have, or bee sting, for instance, you've been stung by a bee and you've been running around the place trying to catch the bee, you can't, you're about to die, use the word bee on your navel, and you can balance it. The body says, yes, I know that frequency. So it's a emergency. It's a secondary thing. Ideally, it's good to have the substance. Any questions around sensitivities, allergies?
Yes. Jeff, hi. Just to clarify, just to clarify this, when you have a piece of paper, so is it either you have a piece of paper and you put it on the navel, or you use the connector with the list? It's either or.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But you must have the pointer on that particular word, a little piece of putty or something, press stick, and the metal copper part on your navel.
But if I write it on a piece of paper, I don't even need the connector.
No, you don't.
Okay, thank you.
So you can do either.
Does the copper have to be touching you?
Yes.
So, okay, so it's not pointing up with, so the piece of paper and then the copper touching the body.
Naturally, yeah. Well, it's either the paper or the copper connector. It's not both. So either you write it down, and this is, of course, somebody that's had an immediate allergic reaction to something. You haven't got the substance, write it down. And I've seen this work. Say maybe in an anaphylactic seizure or something. All right. Any other questions around sensitivities? So the pendulum, Christine Neylands. I was asking about the pendulum, sometimes whizzing round with gusto and other times being more gentle in movement. Is this an indication of how definite the answer is, or is it an indication of clarity, connection, etc.? So I think it could be a variety of different factors. As you know, I mean, your experience, the confidence that you have and the sense of certainty helps with muscle testing. It helps with the pendulum. And when you are out of the way and you're a clear conduit, typically the answers are very clear. Now, if it's an answer that doesn't have clarity, it's not this or that, you could have something happening with your pendulum, which is trying to tell you something. You're looking for a yes or no, and it's sort of giving you like a maybe. Because often, if you don't, or not often, always, if we don't ask the right question, we don't get the right answer. And sometimes we forget to ask the right question. And somehow the pendulum has to convey to us that this is not clear. We need to ask more. So let's say you're dealing with sensitivities or food or whatever it is, and you've just balanced somebody for wheat, and you ask, can they eat wheat? And the answer is sort of a subtle, sort of a hazy little yes. But you didn't ask how much, how often, or what quantity. So it's trying to tell you. So I would suggest to all of you, all of us, is to find a sign from your pendulum that says to you that the factors are not clear enough to answer that question. Do you understand what I'm saying? Because often we ask silly questions that don't have enough detail, and it's not a yes or no. Well, yes, they can eat wheat. Once every 3 weeks, a quarter of a slice, whatever. But so it's a possibility. I'm not saying this is the answer to the question, but it's a very interesting consideration to make, is to find a sign. And of course, you can always ask that question. Number one, do I have permission to ask the question? And are the factors clear enough to get a clear response? Because half of the problem with people with pendulums, with dowsing, is the unclear question. Any thoughts, questions around that?
Hello?
Yeah.
Then you can ask the pendulum, is the question clear enough?
Yeah, you can do that. You can simply do that. So, but you have to remember, you might not ask that, you understand? You may ask a question and you may forget to ask, is it clear enough? And so this is like an emergency safety guard that says, you forgot to ask the question, and I'm giving you this sort of response, which could be up and down, or, an ellipse instead of a circle or something like that. But thank you for that suggestion. But it's sometimes we do forget that. Any other question? Any questions coming up in the group? Because we're running out of questions here.
I have a question, Jeff.
Yeah.
We just went through vortex alignment, and a question that came to my mind was when we were using the triangle card and talking about using that with one of the elements or the crystals or in the house. Can you use one triangle card to actually work with all of those elements? Or, find out, is it a plant or is it a crystal in the house? Can they work together? Or is that something that I would need 2 triangle cards in order to work with the plants and the crystals in my house?
So your intention, of course, is to clear the crystals and to amplify them, or to clear the plants, or both?
More harmony in my house.
Right. All right. So we know, thank you for that question, Elizabeth. We know that the triangle card, which is the earth card, works very intimately with crystals and stones and precious stones and all elements from the earth, but has a particular resonance with crystalline structures. And so your intent may be, let's clear, because I've got a plate of stones there and a few crystals here and an amethyst there. Let's clear the crystals. They are almost like 2 different kingdoms. You've got the stones and you've got the plants. They all work with elemental energies. It's like you have nature spirits around plants and a sort of nature spirit around crystals. They both have auric fields, but you do them individually. And it doesn't mean to say you need 2 triangles, because you find the priority stone. You could have stones and crystals in 4 or 5 different rooms. You find which room, which stone, which is the priority. Keep it on for 20, 25 minutes. It shifts immensely the energy, amplifies the auric field. Now can I work with the plants? Once again, you've got the inside plants, you've got the outside plants. They work separately. So find the inside plant, priority plant, that you need to work with to clear and help enliven all the plants in your house. And I'm sure you've seen that. Plants that look half dead or dead, come alive because we're working with the elementals. And so you place it on one little plant in your house, in your garden, it's almost like a different structure. You find the priority bush, tree, plant, place it on the tree for 15, 20 minutes. And you may have to do that every few weeks. But the difference is immense. You've done that, Elizabeth. Have you seen the difference with that?
Yes, I have. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah, I actually had, I keep one on, and I have not asked the question, do I need to take it off? How long do I put it on? I've actually had one that I move around back and forth to either a crystal or to a plant.
Right.
Just out of feeling of it. But
yeah. Now, actually, it is a very good idea if you can afford to get two triangles. And I'll tell you why. Because the crystals and stones in our house help to absorb the Wi-Fi, the electromagnetic fields, as well as the plants. And they become polluted very, very quickly. And certain crystals, magnificent, large crystals, they serve us. They're part of the kingdom. And they will absorb pretty quickly. Not only negativity from people and your bad moods and this, that, and the other, whatever, but they're absorbing all this electromagnetic stuff. And there's specific type of plants, like spider plants and different plants, that have the ability to absorb electromagnetic fields. They're like cats. So you should have a triangle on your cat. Anyone got a cat that's absorbing all your negativity? Keep a triangle on your cat. Anyone got a cat with a triangle? It's amazing. It keeps them healthy because that's what cats do for us, right? And that's how they serve us. Great. All right. I think we're Sylvia. I can't really understand your question. Are you there, Sylvia? I just see a still photograph of you. Sylvia.
Yes, I'm here. Can
right.
you see me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, but I can't see you. So
I don't know why.
You got two pictures. You got a still one, and there you are. So please clarify your question. It says in a balance with emotion. It's an emotional priority.
There is, yeah.
The connected body point is a point with normally a set sequence. Say, let's say, pain body. Should we do the sequence in this case and balance as indicated, or just the priority point plus normal complex? All right, so let me clarify something here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure if this is your question.
Have you understood?
No.
No.
When you have a emotional priority, you have a story. You have emotions, life field, time frame, all of that. You only have one body point associated, so there's no sequences, there's no complexes. Do you understand that?
Mm-hmm.
So pain body may be the associated body point, but it's not a priority body point because it's not a body point priority. So when it's emotional priority, the emotions say, this is my priority. Just find where in the body it's associated. And then you find one point. There are no sequences. Is that clear?
You answered my question. Perfect. Yeah.
So I think it's time to, unless there are other questions, if not, we'll go into a meditation. Any other questions?
Yes, Jeff. Quick question. Go ahead. Do you hear me, Jeff?
Yeah, who are you?
I'm Paula again.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So regarding the bovine scale, you taught us how to, use it in home alignment, but can I use it to test other things, like, I don't know, an homeopathic remedy, and test how the remedy is doing, how is it working for me, and see what the frequency is when I'm taking that remedy? Use the bovine scale for that.
You can do that.
Okay.
The intent is different.
Yeah.
It's the scale.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. So you can use that scale for anything. You just integrate that into your system, and that's the scale that you're using to test. It's like different people have developed all sorts of scales around foods and all sorts of stuff. But so the bovine scale can be used for that.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. How's Leo doing?
Better, thank you. Yeah.
Balance, he's doing better. Good.
Yes.
Wonderful. So I'm just going to check if there are manifestations. See, some of these questions come out of our discussions. This one is quite interesting. The word natural and the word tolerance. So let's try and discern what that might mean for us. Of course, we could have a natural tolerance. It is part of our nature. Any thoughts around that?
Well, what we were saying about module 4, or the energy protection, we should manifest a natural tolerance regarding the whole surrounding, all the elements and electromagnetic and all of that.
Right. Yeah, I think it's very connected to that. And what other connotations do you think there might be here? By the way, natural is the first word. Tolerance is the second. So it's like, it's natural to either be tolerant, to have tolerance, to tolerate.
Jeff?
Yeah.
It's been a big focus of mine recently, just getting my life into harmony. And so being able to tolerate some of the toxic environments that I am in at times because of my work.
Right.
So, and being able to enable me to do more of this work by increasing those natural tolerances, not things I have to work at really hard, but just are natural to my day-to-day.
Right. Does that say, Adam, that when we are out of our natural rhythms, we lose that tolerance? We become vulnerable. In other words, when we are aligned with our true natural rhythms and our true nature, we are tolerant. Now, we're not only talking to electromagnetics and things like that, but to the chaos in the world and to our environment and chemtrails or whatever it is. But we come out of a reactive mode and we are just tolerant, which means that we are centered, we are strong, resilient, expanded. Does that make sense for you?
Yes, thank you. That's very helpful.
Yeah. Anyone else resonating with these two words in any way?
Just to say that for many people in the world, we're living in a very unnatural way. This is about manifesting naturalness. You know, so many people are indoors, working all day, you know, totally disconnected from nature.
Right.
Yeah. In various ways.
Yeah. So this, of course, has to do with nature as well. When we are out of alignment with nature and nature's natural rhythms, we automatically are tolerant and we're resilient to whatever's happening around us in our family, in our work, in the world. So it builds on our conversation around resilience. Is this important for anybody? Put your hand up if it is. Okay. So let's see what's blocking that. I mean, we know what's blocking that, right? Don't think we need to check. Racy. Our racy lifestyle, our head, our body, when we are out of rhythm and we're racing around and we're in sympathetic dominance, we're in fight or flight, we're out of alignment with nature and our nature, our true nature, our bodies. And we're less tolerant to what goes on in the world. Make sense? So the purpose, I would assume, of this balance is for whatever support that you feel is with you, is to help us to become still, number one, and to help develop a certain centeredness and resilience, calm, peace, so that we come into harmonic resonance with whatever it is, whatever's going on. Make sense? Are we all in tune with this? All in alignment, agreement? Say aye. All right. All right. So let's first become still. Follow the breath, and as you do that, allow the breath to gently slow down. And release through the out breath all raciness, all stress. Just breathe it out, get the head out of the way. Allow the mind to become still. And with the in-breath, through our chakras and through the different orifices we have in the body, absorb the prana, the chi that comes from the earth, from the air, from the sun, the moon, solar system, cosmos. And become aware of a universal presence around you that is supporting this process. And allow the breath to slow down. Slowly to a point as if you don't need to breathe. Very slow breath. Become aware of the different energetic fields around us. The aura, the subtle bodies, causal bodies. Our Merkaba field, which helps us to be protected, resilient. Become aware of the Taurus field that further adds to the vehicle, energetic vehicle that helps us stay safe and aligned. And to the field of energy that has been building around you in this last hour. And feel the core of your being. Around the spine, the center of the body. Connected deeply to the earth, to the cosmos. And feel that core become amplified and strengthened so that we're sitting upright, erect, strong. Nothing can cause that centering, that core, to waver in any way. because we are connected with nature, with our true nature. Connected and aligned with all the elements of nature and our world. Feel the union between the left and right sides of our body and our brain, between our masculine and feminine selves, as they are united in harmony. There is complete strength. We've just felt that recently in the royal wedding, the strength of the power of love as they are united. There is strength way beyond the individual parts. The yin and yang aspects of ourselves. Feel the strength within your being, within your field, your home, your temple. As if nothing can disrupt that or violate that space. We can walk tall and strong and connected. Like a conduit connecting heaven and earth. And experiencing the union of heaven and earth in our bodies. So we have the vertical union, the horizontal, between yin and yang, masculine and feminine. And that axis allows us to continue to let our light shine in the world. Without fear, with tremendous courage. Let us be ourselves as we are. Our true nature. I want to thank you for being here this hour. I'm assuming we're all feeling this tremendous power around us of light, love. Hands up if you're feeling it. Let's take that into the world, into our lives. so we can keep our hearts open, keep loving. So, love you all. Cherry and I are about to go into a hall full of a couple of thousand people with people that eat that chopper. So we'll let our light shine there. So, love you guys. See you next time.
Thank you, Jeff.
Are you feeling strong? How's it feel? Any comments?
Peaceful.
Absolutely amazing. Amazing. Wonderful.
Feeling wonderfully.
Wonderful, guys.
Thank you, Jeff.
And that resilience is...
Thank you, Jeff. Much love.
And part of that resilience is our connection with each other. Strength in numbers. In love.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Ciao, ciao.
All right.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
And
Bye bye.
Ciao.
Ciao, ciao.
Thank you. Bye.